Hey friends, my name is Mason and today I'm gonna help you become a little bit more of a Dr. iPad, which, if you're new here, is an ongoing series where I teach you how to make the most out of your iPad. In this video, we're gonna go through some settings, learn some keyboard shortcuts, and learn about the Files app. Or, at least, it was the initial plan, but turns out it would have been a long video that no one asked for. So, for now, and in this video, we're gonna only talk about the Files app, which, in my opinion, is the most important part of your iPad, and probably the most confusing one. So, let's get started. The Files app turns your iPad to work almost like a Mac. It still has its limitations, but man, it's growing fast. Like, for example, you couldn't see a folder size. Yeah, that's simple. Up until iPadOS 16, you had no way to see your folder size. You could see the size of a file, but not the folder. For those of you who don't know, a folder is a container that contains your files, and a file is the actual thing that you open and use. For example, your musics, your videos, your Word documents, which can have all kinds of formats like MP3, MP4, DocX, APK, and so many other extensions. Okay, enough talk. How you see a folder size. To see a folder size, one way is to long press on a folder and choose Get Info. Here you see all the information about this folder, including the size, where this folder is located or its directory, and the tags. The other way is when you're inside a folder. Then you can tap this arrow to see its menu. Then you can rename it, copy it, move it, but at the top you can also see its size. The third way to see a folder size is when you have a keyboard and you love using shortcuts. Here's how it works. You can move to the folder with the arrow keys on your keyboard and then press Command-I to get info. And speaking of keyboards and shortcuts, it's a good time to talk about some keyboard shortcuts to use with your fancy Apple Magic keyboard or any other Bluetooth keyboard. I'm gonna be using a Logitech Cut 380. It's a very good companion to your iPad. You can watch the complete review I did on this keyboard by clicking the banner up right here. And if you don't have a keyboard or you don't want to use it, feel free to skip this part and go to this timestamp where I put somewhere on the screen. And disclaimer, the shortcuts I'm gonna show you are the ones that you are gonna actually use everywhere. So I'm not gonna mention the shortcuts specific to the Files app, but these shortcuts that I'm gonna teach you are gonna work on every app and even on every device, like on a Mac. We have the basic shortcuts. We have Command-A to select all, Command-C to copy, and Command-V to paste. Then we have Command-N, which opens a new window in side-by-side view. So for example, I can select all of these with Command-A, I can open a new window with Command-N, and paste them to, for example, LumaFusion with Command-V. The other shortcut that I frequently use is to open my downloads folder. As I download a lot of things, I'm sure you do that too. So to quickly access my downloads, I use Command-Option-L. However, I don't memorize that, Command-Option-L. I remember my hand position on the keyboard. I memorize the triangle that these three keys make. Okay, let's go to the next shortcut. We have Command close bracket and Command open bracket. With the left one you go back, and with the right one you go forward. This is a new option for iPadOS 16, by the way. Before you could only go up to the parent folder. Now you can go back. There is a difference between going back and back up to the parent folder. Back can mean going to the parent folder, but it can also mean back where you were. Don't worry, you'll understand after this example. Take this case. I can be deep in here and all of a sudden go to on my iPad and open LumaFusion. Then I want to go back to where I was. Before iPadOS 16 you couldn't do that. Now you can do this with this back arrow, or as we said, with the Command close bracket. Again, remember that the shortcuts we're reviewing here are universal. For example, in Safari, I can search for something and I open a page. Then I want to go back to my search. I can use Command close bracket. Easy. Again, to make it easier for you, remember the position: left to go back, right to move forward. You have more ways to navigate using your keyboard. For example, you can use arrow keys to move around. Easy. Now, if you want to open a folder and go down inside it, I specifically want to use the word down inside it, you can use Command down arrow. And if you want to go back up to the upper folder, you can use Command up. So again, Command down to go in and Command up to go back up. And as we already said, you can use Command I to get info on the folder that is selected right now. Now, how do you open a file? Not a folder this time, but the actual file that you want to use. You should use space to open a file. Now, if you've ever used the Mac, you may now think that you can close that with pressing the spacebar again, but that's not the case. Or maybe it's a bug in the iPadOS 16 beta that I'm in. Feel free to test that out and comment in the comment section if it's fixed. Now you have opened a bunch of folders, you're deep inside your folder system, and you want to see where you are. How do you do that? Do you remember this icon we talked about? You could see a folder size you're in. It has a new feature in iPadOS 16 that you can also see where you are right now, like a map. For example, right now I'm in here, 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 and deep in here. The other way to see where you are is to get info on this folder and see where you are that way. And you can also do this to see where you are. What I did was to change my view to columns. How can you do that? You can tap on this icon and choose columns. Or in a faster way and in a lot for shortcuts, you can use Command 1, Command 2, and Command 3. So Command 1 shows you the icons. Command 2 is a list view and Command 3 is a column view, which is very useful to see where you are. Okay, now that we're here, let's talk more about it. We said that you can change the view here, but you can also change two more things: grouping and sorting. Let's talk about it in a practical way. Take this case that I want to choose to view my files in icon view. Then I'd like to see all my PDF documents, and then I want to sort them in a way to see my latest PDF document that I've been working on. I sound like an Apple event. Let's see how we're gonna make that happen. If you tap on this icon, you can choose your view. That's easy, but I'm just gonna press Command 1. I like this icon view. From here, it can get a little confusing, so bear with me. You have this part, and then if you tap on View Options, you have this part. You can see that here says Group By. So to group my folders, I'm gonna use this part. I said I want to see my PDF documents, so I choose to group by kind. Group by kind basically means that grouping based on file type or the file extension. Then I said I want to see my latest PDF document. It means two things. First, I need to sort my documents based on date. Then it means that I should sort them, let's say, from top to down. So my latest document is going to appear on top. I don't say ascending or descending because Apple isn't using them either. Instead, you see these arrows. A down arrow means from the latest or the biggest, and an up arrow means from the oldest or the smallest. So let's make it happen. I choose to sort based on date. Then all I have to do is to make sure that the arrow is a down arrow, which means from the latest to the oldest date. And here it is. This is the latest PDF that I've been working on. Okay, what else do we have in this part? Did you see this one right here? One last thing that is new to the iPadOS 16 is that you can now, for the first time, you can see the file extensions and you can change it. Maybe you don't care about changing a file extension ever, but seeing a file extension is very useful. Take this case, that you're working on a photo in a Photoshop, in a Lightroom, in Affinity Photo, and you need to know that what type of file you're working on. Is it a JPEG? Is it a PNG? Or take this case, you want to upload a document on a website, and the website tells you that you should only upload a PDF. You have to know the file extension. Trust me, this is game-changing. Maybe game-changing is a lot, but I'm very excited to see my file extensions for the first time. Okay, that was all of the things that I wanted to say, but did you notice that all of the things that I said and talked about was in this part and not in the left sidebar? Because the left sidebar has a lot more going for it and it needs its own video. So to learn more about the Files app, you can watch this video right here, and to become more of a Dr. iPad, you can watch this playlist that I've made specifically for you. So see you there.